Hello and welcome to another edition of Mailbag. What is Mailbag? Well, Mailbag is a feature of the channel where you guys leave lots of comments on the channel and I attempt to answer those comments, or if I can't answer those comments, I throw it out to you guys who have more knowledge on some of this stuff than I do. So let's get into the first mailbag of this session. Remember, like, comment, subscribe to the channel. Go over to Instagram and follow me there. Go over to Facebook, follow me there. That's where the normal notices are. And consider becoming a Patreon. This next one comes from Wilson Riles, and he writes, when I saw the Jupiter, I was annoyed that the Pro they made didn't get to drop yet. I'm also concerned because the UBXA still has not been done either. It's kind of ridiculous not to finish one synth and have a mess of them in production. This was in response to another Behringer announcement and the fourth Jupiter X upgrade video I did in August 2021. And I'm going to hazard a guess that Behringer are having lots of supply issues. In fact, given the point I wrote this and the point I'm recording this, I know Behringer are having massive supply issues because they've told the world on several occasions via their Instagram and Twitter feeds and Facebook feeds that they're having massive issues with getting the chips to make a production run. And I said specifically chips. I have an order, and this at this point, this is God's honest truth. I ordered the RD9 in April as soon as it was announced in April 2021, and it arrived at Christmas 2021. So you can see that was a long lead time for something they thought they could go to production with, and they couldn't go production with it because they couldn't get hold of enough chips to make a full production run. And they can't operate the kind of Dell methodology, and the Dell methodology was basically that they would start producing a machine, and when they ran out of chips, they went and bought new chips and just changed the spec of the machine overnight, but still branded it the same machine. And when I was in the IT industry, when I was in sort of that side of the IT industry, we had tremendous problems of building images for machines and then putting them onto the same, supposedly the same machine, and the image breaking. And that was all because the chipsets are, like for argument's sake, the chipset to run the network interface card would be a slightly different chipset, and therefore had to have different drivers and commands. Anyway, that's a side. Anyway, the thing is that the Behringer RD9 turned up at Christmas, so that was a long time. So anything they're announcing over the last year or so, unless it's actually appeared, and even if it has appeared on one of the portals for purchase, you can't guarantee you're actually going to get it next week. Now, part of me wants to get my hands on the new tech from Behringer. I have to be honest, as the original machines are becoming harder and harder to source, and the prices are going up. That now in reality, how good these original synths were does not justify the cost that they're being sold for. But because I'm broke, everybody knows I'm broke. The other part of me is happy to wait for these synths to actually arrive in their clone format from Behringer. Now, are they going to be as good as the original? Well, let's be honest. They've had the stuff that Behringer have pushed out so far has been pretty damn close, to the point that unless you were an aficionado, in some instances, you would struggle to work out the difference between the original manufacturer's machine and the Behringer clone. Unlike many commentators on YouTube, I don't get approached by manufacturers, so I'm not. When I'm talking about stuff, I'm talking about my reviews. I'm not talking about something because a manufacturer has asked me to. And if I was approached by a manufacturer, guess what, guys? I'd let you guys know that I was doing this as a sponsored piece of work. But I do completely agree, between the time of the teasers and the release of the synth is agonisingly long. So Behringer started teasing us about the Lindrum the Lindrum, last year. Well, probably about the same time that the RD9 actually went onto the portals for purchase. Right? I can tell you, I'm recording this more or less a year after that point in time, and the Lindrum hasn't arrived. But what Behringer have done is they have released some more statements about the Lindrum to say that they've now finished the firmware, they've now finished they've done the second prototype case for it, they've done all the stuff you do in R&D to try and get this thing through, and they're now writing the patches that will be released on the machine day one. But it is a long time from the point they issue something to the point it comes out. I am fully expecting something like the UBXA to drop in the next 3 months from the point of recording this video. I'm fully expecting that. But of course, the big issue with the UBXA, and I believe the UBXA is finished, I believe that they actually have a working machine that can go to mass production. I think the limitation is Behringer being able to source the vital components and not being outbid. And that's one of the biggest things that they have at the moment, is a lot of these core chips, these common chips that are in these machines, are, funny enough, the same chips that appear in lots of other pieces of equipment. They just may be sort of standard static logic chips for doing some sort of function. And they appear in cars, and they appear in washing machines, and they appear in something else. And these other manufacturers probably have deeper pockets to be able to pay higher prices, which means that companies like Behringer and Roland and Yamaha might not be able to afford those chips at the moment, and might have to put product launches on hold to allow them to actually be able to secure the chips. Prices are coming down, I understand, but still out in the Far East there is still a lot of COVID going on, and a lot of isolation and shutdowns and stuff like that. And most of the semiconductors that make up these machines, guess what? They come from the Far East. So, for the time being, I think we're going to see some elongated product launches. All I hope is that we don't have too short a time between some of the key synthesizers, because I know they're working on the Yamaha CS80, for argument's sake, and I would love to get hold of the Yamaha CS80, even in the Behringer format. And I also, I'd love to get hold of the UBXA, either in desktop or keyboard format. I haven't decided yet, I'm still on the fence on that. But I don't want them to come in too close together because I'm skin. And therefore, I've got to have time to be able to sort of put a little bit of money aside every week. So, any sponsorship, any Patreons, they all help. But I want to be able to put some money aside so that I can actually buy these things when they come out. I'd love to be in that position. Hey ho.